What's up, everybody? It's me, Joe Pisapia, back with another top 10 bets here on Betting Pros. We are into week 10 already. Can you believe it? Double digits. It's amazing, isn't it? It's such a long season, yet so short at the same time. And I told you last week, make sure you bet the Cincinnati Bengals to win the AFC North because the number would shrink. And guess what? It continues to shrink. So this is the bonus reminder. Go bet the Cincinnati Bengals. They are on a roll. They are beating big-time teams, the 49ers, the Bills, and so on and so forth. But that's in the past. This is the future. So now it's time to look to the future, to week 10, see what I'm in on this week and what you should be in on too. And I want to hear from all of you. You tell me your favorite picks of week 10. Drop them below, comment below, and subscribe to our Betting Pros YouTube channel. Because if you do, you know what happens? You could win a 1-year free premium upgrade to Betting Pros. That's right, the best betting tools on the planet for you, the premium version. Start betting smarter, not harder, with the Betting Pros app. All right, let's get to it. It's time for week 10 bets. Top 10 for 10. Here we go. Let's kick things off here for week 10 in the NFL with number 10, the Denver Broncos at Buffalo Bills, over 46.5. This you can get over on DraftKings at -110. Now, say what you will about the Buffalo Bills. It's been an up and down season for them, and they are 4-1 at home, so I do believe the Buffalo Bills will find a way to win this football game. But I think the number here in the margin of error is a little too close for comfort for me. So instead, I'm going to pivot to the over of the 46.5. I think the Buffalo defense at home will show up and show out. The Denver Broncos, coming off a bye in the last few weeks too, they've committed to running the football with Javonte Williams, and that has sort of balanced things out in the offense a little bit. They've looked a little bit better. So I think they can do their part, whether it be in a more competitive game that we don't realize in one of the many ranges of outcome of this contest, or potentially in garbage time as well, as Russell Wilson's trying to catch up late. Either way, I think that 46.5 is an over. It's a good number, so let's take it. Number 9 on the list for week 10, the Packers at Steelers, under 37.5, -108 over on FanDuel. The Steelers and Packers have two second-year quarterbacks that are still trying to find their way. The pace of play here for these two teams is not going to be high. They are going to run the football, and run the football some more. Some key weapons out for this game too. Christian Watson won't be available for the Packers. Not that it matters, like Jordan Love wants to look at him anyway. However, between the Packers and Steelers, I'm telling you, I don't think this game can get to 37. I just don't. So I'm going to go with the under here. I think it's just as simple as the Steelers are going to play defense, run the football, run out some clock, and at the end of the day, I don't think the Packers offense packs enough punch, no pun intended, or all puns intended. You'll have to figure out. But either way, expect a lot of Najee Harris, a lot of Aaron Jones in this game, and probably not a lot of points. So give me the under on the 37.5 in Pittsburgh this weekend. Next up here for week 10, I'm cautiously optimistic that the Saints and Vikings can hit the over in Minnesota this week, -110 over on FanDuel. Josh Dobbs did something absolutely stunning this week. He didn't even know the names of the players he was playing with, let alone the playbook, and he stepped in when Jaren Hall got hurt and somehow willed the Vikings to a road victory, and I think that is a lot to take in a week and a lot to be confident about, as the Minnesota Vikings just keep finding ways to win football games. You can't stop a team that's on a good streak. And speaking of a good streak, Derek Carr and the Saints continue to show that they are in the thick of the playoff race in the NFC as well. So I think this is going to be a more competitive game than people might even realize from a point standpoint. The 41 is a pretty low number. I think they can absolutely get to this when you add in especially the big playmaking, running ability of Josh Dobbs. And now you're giving him some real big-time playmakers here, like Jordan Addison for the first time in 2023, and TJ Hawkinson. I think Josh Dobbs can absolutely do his part, and we already know that Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and Taysom Hill can all help Derek Carr and put this game in the over column. Number 7 on our list for week 10, the Texans at Bengals. Give me the Bengals at the -7 at -110 over at FanDuel. CJ Stroud was absolutely awesome. He was historically good last week, throwing for over 450 yards and about 1 million touchdowns in an incredible performance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. However, as much as we are impressed and should be by that performance, we should be more impressed by what the Bengals have been doing recently. They are back and back with a vengeance. Joe Burrow's calf is clearly healthy. He is more mobile in the pocket, and all of a sudden that running game is coming to life a little bit with Joe Mixon as well. I just think everyone is overrating the Texans just a little bit off that incredible performance I think going on the road to Cincinnati with the way the offense is starting to play, and also the defense too. I think that secondary, albeit young in Cincinnati, is starting to play up to its potential, and you cannot dismiss the importance of the return of the last few weeks of Trey Hendrickson in that pass rush. So give me the Cincinnati Bengals. Give me the 7 points in this one. I expect it to be fun, but I just think the Bengals are in a different class than the Texans, and everyone is going to be reminded of that very quickly in Week 10. Next up on our list is the Titans at Bucks. I'm going to push this one to the alternate spread on the Bucs side. Give me -2.5 from the 1.5 it currently is, plus 104 at FanDuel. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I like the Bucs in this game, but I want to get this number into the plus because basically Vegas is telling me it's a pick'em. And just like last week when we were on the Thursday Night Football show, we told you it is tough for rookie quarterbacks to go on the road and win football games. Now, Will Levis almost kind of sort of did it, but he didn't at the end of the day. And I think it's going to be tough to go in there and face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road, 2 road games in a row for Will Levis and the Titans. And I think if I can get that plus money with the Bucs, flat out, I think the number's wrong already. I think the Bucs should be heavily favored in this game more than they are. Not that the Bucs are world beaters, but Baker Mayfield's done enough. They've certainly put enough points on the board, and I think the defense will respond to the absolute butt kicking they took in Texas last week at the hands of CJ Stroud and company. So give me the pushed up alternative spread, -2.5 plus 104 over on FD. Next up on our list, coming in at number 5 this week, is the Washington Commanders plus 230 on the money line at the Seattle Seahawks over on FanDuel. I know this might sound a little kooky here, but I think the Seattle Seahawks have been exposed these last few weeks. They barely came out with a victory against the Cleveland Browns at home, and I'm not saying that the Commanders are world beaters, but you know what? They are competitive. They're showing up in games, and it looks like finally Sam Howell has remembered that Jahan Dotson plays on his team. And that's a big deal because that is a big-time wide receiver talent. You couple him and Terry McLaurin, and I think Sam Howell has an opportunity to win his second straight road game coming off a big victory over in New England against the Patriots. Look, it's really just a matter of, can the Commanders keep this one close and can one bounce of the football go their way? I think they can, and I think the fact that I'm getting more than 2-to-1 odds on this is very sexy to me. So give me the Commanders over the Seahawks in Seattle. It might be unpopular, but I think it's going to win us some money. Next on our list is the Jets at Raiders. Give me the Raiders on the money line, plus 110 over on FanDuel. This number was plus 118 just a day ago, and then Zach Wilson's performance pushed this number a little bit towards the Raiders side of things, understandably so. It was not a good look for the Jets offense on Monday Night Football. That being said, I believe in Antonio Pierce, and I think Antonio Pierce has the ear and the heart of this locker room, and I think they're going to show up again 2 weeks in a row, beat up on some New York teams coming into Vegas. And I think the Jets right now, as good as that defense is, the offense is just not good enough to win football games. And I think the Raiders can pull a rabbit out of their hat here at home again, keep the momentum rolling. I would lock this in too, because I think as the week goes on, more and more money is going to come in on the Raiders side of this game, which could push this at some point to the Raiders being favorites. So lock this in now before it changes. Give me the Raiders at home against the Jets. Number 3 on our list, the Browns at Ravens. Give me the under in this game at 38.5 at -108 over on FanDuel. The Ravens put on a show, giving the shellacking of a lifetime to the Seattle Seahawks. This game was over at halftime, but the Cleveland Browns are coming into town, and we know how close these in-division rivalry games can be. Not to mention, what do I always say, boys and girls? Defense travels, and the Cleveland Browns have a defense that is going to travel. This one feels like it's going to be a classic AFC North rock fight, and that is probably going to make for some fun football, but maybe not the highest scoring game. So give me the under on the 38.5 between the Browns and Ravens in Week 10. Number 2 on our list this week, let's talk about the Detroit Lions alternate spread at the Los Angeles Chargers. Let's push this number from 1.5 to -2.5 and move that number down to -106, which is pretty close to that even number, because I think the Lions coming off the bye are going to hand the Chargers their lunch. I don't care about how good the Chargers pass rush looked against Zach Wilson. This is going to be a different story, especially if David Montgomery is healthy for this game. To be honest, I don't think the Lions are getting enough credit here. Yes, they did get their butt kicked against the Baltimore Ravens, and now they went home, thought about it, and I think they're going to come back out of this bye healthier, ready to go against the Charger team that has been up and down all year. So I really don't care what happened on Monday Night Football. That is not a copy and paste job as far as I'm concerned with the Chargers that I've seen be up and down all year long. So if you're the Lions, get back to basics, get back to playing defense, running the football, Detroit Lions style football. And if you get back to that, I think you win this game by at least a field goal here in LA, because in LA, there's no home field advantage for the Chargers. And lastly, for Week 10, let's have some fun, boys and girls. The Bengals at plus 350 to win the AFC North. You remember a couple weeks ago, I told you, bet the Bengals right now, folks. Bet them now to win this division at plus 5, because if they have a little bit of a win streak, guess what's going to happen? This number's going to get cut in half. And guess what happened? It got cut in half, and now it's plus 350. That's the best number you can get right now. And if I am you on DK, I bet this one, and I bet it hard, because I'm looking around, and as good as the Ravens have been, they will be competitive. The Cleveland offense is no good, and now we have an injury to Kenny Pickett, and the Steelers just took another loss. I think the Bengals are primed here to get a big win on the Bills, and just like last week when we were looking to maybe get ahead of markets, let's get ahead of the market here, because if the Bengals beat the Bills, all of a sudden their stock goes way up, this number goes way down, and the value is gone. So don't lose the value, please. Bet the Bengals at plus 350 to win the AFC before this number becomes even lower in the weeks ahead. There you have it, everybody. Those are my top 10 bets for Week 10 in the NFL, but I want to know what you are in on. So please tell me, give me your picks. I love when you give me your picks. I want to hear about them, so drop them below in the comments section on YouTube, and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click that little bell till it goes ding too, so you know every time a piece of content drops here on the channel, our podcast, our live streams, and we can notify you if you're the big winner of the 1-year free premium upgrade to Betting Pros. That'll do it for me, Joey P, for Week 10. We'll see you next time, kids. Have fun.